Welcome to today's masterclass where we're going to talk about the art of the pitch. Right off the bat in your pitch, I'm looking to understand what problem you're solving, how well you understand it, and how big of a problem it is for your customers. A good trouble story is composed of four things: the current environment and problems with it, customer quotes on what frustrates them the most, financial impact of the problem on their business, and finally, make it real. Now, you could stand up and say that blockchain or AI or Web3 is going to change the world, and most investors will simply tune you out at that point. Why? Because you're leading with technology. Don't do that. You should tell a story. So start by introducing the main character, your customer. Who are they? How do they do whatever it is that they do? What keeps them up at night? You could talk about how Fortune 500 companies are struggling with blah, 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 but that's too abstract and you're not making it real. Draw your audience into the story by bringing the characters to life. Paint a picture of a typical real-world customer. If you're early stage and you don't have any real customers to point to, you can use a fictitious composite customer that stitches together what you've heard from all your discovery calls. That's fine. We also want to include both qualitative and quantitative stories to explain the pain. Let me show you what I mean. To our AI 8-ball case study. We've spoken with dozens of HR recruitment professionals over the past couple of months, and I'd like to share with you what we've heard. This is the story of Acme Technologies, which is a composite of our discovery calls. One person we spoke with told us, "I'm frustrated because there's too much friction in the recruitment process." Notice how it's not us talking about our solution. This is all real-world evidence using the voice of the customer. How do you get qualitative stories and quantitative numbers? Well, we start by asking customers, what frustrates you about what you're doing today? Then just sit back and take notes. If they're not frustrated, then chances are they don't have a big problem for you to solve. Quantitative insights can be a bit tricky because people may not know or they may not want to share the information with you. So I like to start with internet research, then test it with customers. For example, tell customers that our research indicates that it takes between 40 and 50 days to recruit developers. What are your thoughts? Would you say that you're at the low end or the high end of that range? From there, you can converge on a range that's reflective of real-world experience. Customers are currently following a 6-step recruitment process that looks like this, and the problems exist throughout their workflow, which I'm calling out in very real and quantitative ways in my pitch. So what I've done right up front in my presentation, I've demonstrated that I understand the customer well. I understand the problem well. There's a lot of pain and I know where the pain is. It's also quantitative pain in dollars and cents. I've made it real for the audience by telling the story through the eyes of a composite customer. And the story is backed by lots of hard evidence that's difficult for even a cynical investor to disagree with. I've immediately established credibility with the investor audience. All this content would be collected from multiple customer discovery calls and from internet research that's then corroborated with customers. I guarantee that your audience will be paying attention and interested to hear more after your opening slides. So how do you know if you have a good problem story in your pitch deck? Here's a scorecard for you to mark yourself on how good your problem story is today. In the interest of time, I'm not going to read through the slides. I'll leave that for you to do after the call today. If you already have a slide in your pitch deck, how well did you score? What do you need to do to bump up your score? Look for anything in your story that's not supported by real-world customer evidence. If you don't have evidence, it's not real. So do some more discovery calls to uncover the facts. I recommend you involve your mentor advisor and ask them if they agree with your scoring, because oftentimes you're too close to the business and you need someone outside to be the impartial judge looking at your evidence to make sure it's accurate and complete. This is a great opportunity for you to take out your scorecard, score yourself, see how you're doing. So pause the video now and go do that, then come back and we'll continue.